Welcome to the Thrive series, where today I am delighted to introduce you to Trina Gunzel, a business consultant. And you got to hear this next part. This is such a fun job title. Can you explain this other name, Trina?
Yes, I have been getting called the celebrity life coach because I help people create that celebrity life that they wish they had and make it reality. And it can look exactly like they want it to be. It doesn't have to be like anyone else's scripted life. You can literally have limo trips like we do out here when we have our Women in Power events and retreats. We take them out in a limo. They go to a fancy show, all the food's included. It's luxury all the way and king suites and everything. And then also we have times where we just love to be totally off the radar and we'll go out for a scenic drive or go have a picnic. It can literally be your life created on demand. You can be a celebrity because your page is your stage and that's what we create.
Ah, that just sounds so fun because I think sometimes so along the idea of thriving, I think sometimes
Yeah.
we can get in a rut about, what we expect out of life. Um,
Mm.
and we forget that it can be bigger, that we can dream bigger. And just doing those things with people, like when they come to an event and getting in a limo or something, that opens that door to, oh, wow, what does this feel like? Would I like
Mhm.
more of this in my life? Just opens us up to a whole new experience. Yeah.
It does, and I noticed that too, a lot of people, how many times do we spend at home in our jeans and yoga pants and everything, but then I found when I gave people an opportunity, I surprised them, like, different things unlocked where they got to wear a black dress and put on their pearls and go out. People were so excited about that, and we had this big bonding experience, as women where we went out to a show and got to meet some of the show stars, and it was just such a cool connection. I really believe in that, like, thriving through experiences.
Mm,
That was a yeah, that was
right.
a big thing we did, like, when my son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 4, we went on this path of, like, "Wow, we get to make a choice here. It can be a downward spiral, and we're just barely gonna survive this, or we can shift our whole mindset to how can we thrive as a type 1 diabetic family and embrace it," and that's why, we decided to publish books, and we toured with our kids full time for 3 years to teach them that type 1 diabetes didn't have to stop us from doing anything, right? And we learned how to take this thing that could have been a pivotal moment where we gave up, and
Yeah.
instead we were like, how can we thrive? We got in
Yes,
studies. We
exactly.
wanted to help people. We made a bigger impact to thousands. And now my 4-year-old baby boy is off serving a mission in Washington, D.C., speaking Farsi. It's like, if that's not thriving with
Wow.
something that could have been a challenge that was life ending, I don't know what is.
Oh, that's a great example. And it fits right in with what you're talking about with experience. Like a lot of us can talk about something we want to do, think about something we want to do, but not actually take the step. That first step, I think, is often the hardest
Mhm.
to experience something new. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I think a lot of people honestly have even forgotten how to dream. And I noticed that because, for 25 years, I have been consulting and my bachelor's is in education. And then I have a master's in education and leadership. And so I love to create programs and I see my mind just sees how things work. And I think that was a cool connection point that we had, a background in education. A lot of educators are some of my favorite clients because they know how to teach groups and they also know how to teach one on one. So the bigger piece we work on is that thrive mindset that helps them see, oh, we can actually get paid more and our skills and talents are highly valuable and people would love to work with us. Like educators have such sweet hearts because they really care because they didn't get into it for the money, but that doesn't mean you can't be highly paid, as a consultant and have your own signature program and have a lot of fun in the process.
Ooh, yes. Oh, that's so great. Yes, you hit on, that's one of the things that our connection points is our pasts in education, as well
Yeah.
as type 1 diabetes, your son and my husband. and
That's right.
then Billings, Montana. Your
Oh,
husband's
yeah.
grandparents, is
think
that
my
right?
husband's parents, yeah, his grandparents got engaged there, and his dad was actually born there, which I could not believe we have that same connection point. I never met anyone else from there. It's awesome.
So funny. That's so funny. But right now, you live in
I'm in Branson, Missouri. So yeah, we are the I say family friendly version of Vegas because it kind of gives people something to relate because when you come here, there are all of these shows and there's, so many things to do and it's surrounded with lakes and waterfalls and green and it's just abundant life.
Yeah.
Very clean, bright energy. And it's interesting because when people come here, like they don't expect it, but everything is family friendly. They want you to be able to take your kids. They love veterans. Like, the whole place is really about thriving. You can feel it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. Yeah, I can't wait. It's on my bucket list. I'm gonna come there and see you,
Oh,
and
yeah. Yeah, one of our Women in Power retreats, that would be perfect because every spring, we do a Women in Power retreat here and we do our virtual event in the fall. And it's such a neat opportunity for people to come out because so many people have Branson on their bucket list. It's just a cool place in the Midwest. You can fly into Springfield and there's so much to do. If you love outdoors or you want to dress up and do something fancy, it has both. It is a celebrity life place. It's really cool.
it's no accident that that's where you live.
No, it's no accident. Right.
So, you mentioned taking your family on the road. What ages were they? How did you guys come to that decision and actually follow through to do that?
That is an awesome question. So, my husband and I have been together since we were 15, and we had lived in New Mexico, Oregon, Arizona. And after our son was diagnosed, we decided to move out to Missouri so that we could buy a farm. We found our dream house, literally 4,000 square foot house, huge shop, 5 acres. It was like the postcard, Hallmark card place. It was just gorgeous. And we had enough room. We could have people over, do mini retreats where they got the whole lower level of the house. It was very, like, dreamy. That's all I can say. It was thriving. And we decided one day, we asked the question, like, Lord, what else can I do? And if you ask that question, be prepared for like the rain, because it was one of those we just kept feeling this prompting, like we had to lay everything down and go do something bigger, help a lot more people. And so we literally went from, when I say action taker, like I mean big time, we went from idea to go in 8 weeks. And
Wow.
everything just fell into place. Like we didn't even list our house. Our neighbor knew someone who bought it. Like it just worked out. We called an estate company and we're like, we're just gonna pack what fits in our fifth wheel in our truck. We're gonna go. And we literally they sent us a check. They're like, we never mail checks this big for a state. Like you guys are so young. Everything was new, but we just were at a point where my husband lost both his parents to cancer when they were only 60, and that was 12 years. It's 12 years now, so they've been gone quite a while now. But our kids, we were at that pivotal point where Wyatt, who's 18 now, so that was 5 years ago, is that 13, right? And our daughter was 8. And so our kids were still pretty little. And we just decided, what a cool window. They're old enough to carry their own backpacks. We want to go hiking. We want to explore. He had this dream. My husband had this dream to see 50 states in 50 months, which was a pretty big undertaking.
Yeah.
And then right before we sold our house, when we first got married, he said, when we have our 20-year anniversary, I'm going to take you to Italy. Because my family's from Sicily and his family's from Germany. And um, we wanted to go visit where our roots were. And so literally all worked out, everything aligned. And that summer, not only were we traveling full time with our truck and fifth wheel, we left our fifth wheel in Montana at our friends and flew out from the airport there. And what is the airport? It's not in Billings. Where is it?
Um,
Is it in Billings?
yeah, yeah, and there's the rims up there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
we flew out of there to our trip to Europe, which was crazy. And we went for a month in a backpack. And it was just one of those where we were like, we saw this window of time where we retired early. We're like, wow, we could just enjoy this time on our farm and our bubble life is great.
yeah,
But we wanted to help more people. And we just felt that calling, like our life is great, but there's so many people hurting and we want to help make a bigger impact.
yeah.
So we chose to homeschool the kids and teach them through experiences. I'm like, I can't teach you a better form of art than seeing Michelangelo's work in person. Like they got to see actually the real Picasso's work and Monet's work and Da Vinci's work. It was incredible. And I smile when I think about it because it was the best memories of our life because we were willing to lay down one dream for a bigger one and
Yeah.
create more, right?
Yeah.
Less stuff, more memories.
So that's an interesting point too, because sometimes we have a pivot point from
Mhm.
pain. Like if there's
Yeah,
something so uncomfortable, we're like, wait a minute, something's got to change.
yeah,
You went from a place of like, hey, we're living the dream,
yeah.
and there's a bigger dream.
Mhm.
So that's cool too. Sometimes I was just listening to something the other day about what if we didn't have to struggle? Like, what if we could, what if I think so often we can, it's almost like we tell ourselves that we have to struggle a certain amount before we can have success.
Yeah.
What if we can, your story illustrates that to me right now, it coming to mind. It's like, what if you can say yes, this is
Yeah.
wonderful and there's more wonderful, and just
That's
keep
right.
keep adding on to the wonderful as you're thriving and feeling that obviously, you were all so aligned from all of the different ways that we can be aligned and in tune and connected, um, in order to when you describe how easily everything came together,
Mhm.
that always feels
Yeah.
like, a sign of real thriving to me too.
Yeah, it does, and when you tap into that, it's like my husband and I have always felt like, wherever people are in their journey, but like we pray about something and then we'll say, if the doors blow wide open for us, we feel like we're aligned with what we're supposed to be doing. And when we find that resistance, we're kind of like, maybe we shouldn't be doing that. We just, we feel into that. And look, it doesn't mean you won't have challenges, right? But even our trip, nobody can believe it. We didn't plan the whole trip. We did not have it all lined out. We would literally wake up and be like, where do we feel like we should head today? Is it east, west? We would look at the map and then we would like, okay, I'll call this place. I kid you not, 3 years of traveling full time with my kids, I would call a cool RV park because we always had criteria.
Yeah.
We want it to have a hot tub and a pool, and we want a really nice place and views, and maybe 20 minutes outside a big town, whatever. Every time there was a spot for us, it was crazy. Literally, someone would be like, "Oh, we never have any kind of reservations open this time of year. People book a year in advance." And they're like, "Wait, what dates did you say?" And they'd be like, "We just had a cancellation this morning." Every single time. Or they'd say, "Oh my gosh, we ended up getting to stay in this gorgeous place in Eureka Springs. You can never get into that place in Colorado." Or wait, is it Eureka Springs? Ouray, sorry, Ouray. Eureka Springs is in Missouri, also amazing, but this one's Ouray, Colorado. And because a giant boulder blocked the road, a lot of people canceled their reservations, so they couldn't get there for 4th of July. In Colorado, you could never get into your Ray. It was so, highly desirable. But because that boulder happened to block traffic, we got in. And it wasn't just like a night. We were able to stay there for like 3 weeks and do all the hiking and be there for 4th of July. It was so amazing. And I literally have to write a blessings book because the whole trip was like that. There was just always someone to help or someone to meet. We literally grew, our blog was like over 1,000 people that we met and like face to face over that trip, and just spreading that message of hope and just living that thrive life where it was, what do you want to do today? Let's create. It was like massive creation, right?
Yes.
And if somebody's listening to this and they're afraid to maybe take action on something, I would encourage them, really look at your life and see what lights you up. Because if you're not feeling like you're thriving, I feel like you wither and you're kind of, you know, regressing, right? Digressing. Is that the word? Digressing? Like
Yeah.
going down. And we
Yeah.
didn't want that. And maybe your life is amazing. Not everybody would want to sell everything and travel like we did. But I do meet a lot of people that want time and location freedom. And we wanted to be fully like full integrity, ethical, where I teach you can work anywhere with a cell phone signal.
Yeah.
I did it for 3 years with my two kids little, right? With making all the things for cell phone and coaching live. We coached for years. We recorded our entire program on our tour
Wow.
because we did it for years live, but we wanted beautiful variety of scenery. And so it's a very unique program. It's not like, something I just did in my back room, because we wanted all of that Thrive life integrated, right? With abundance of locations and scenery, and um, just proving whatever the dream is. I literally want to speak that out and over you. If you have the desire on your heart,
Yeah.
there is someone in your life who can help you, or if you have a will, there's absolutely a way. You just have to figure it out as you go, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes. And this came up as you were talking. How would you How does the word trust fit in with the idea of thriving? Because as you were describing your whole trip, I was thinking to myself, oh, there's a lot of trust there.
Yeah, that's an awesome question, because I found when you take all the, like, if your security is in your things or in your house, literally my parents still live on the same property
Mhm.
that I was raised on. So we didn't move. They're in the same town, so I thought when we first got married, I'll get my one house, that's where I'm gonna be forever.
Yeah.
14 moves later, full-time touring for 3 years. I had a problem with transitions, okay? I still wanna, like, nest up, and that's my place. But I've had to learn, like, being adaptable, trusting that it's gonna work out, and that your trust can't be found in things. And I never really understood this, honestly, till recently. I'm 46 years old now, but my dad would always tell me, "Be careful where you go, because no matter where you are, you'll still be there." And it took me a long time to really understand that, but it was really, I had to trust myself. I
Yeah.
had to know that wherever I would go, I had to be my constant. And for me, my relationship with the Lord is a big deal. And so if you can strip everything down to nothing, and you can show, you can go from, let's just intentionally peel everything back and start again,
Mhm.
you find this, like, freeing ability to create on demand. And just a little behind the scene hack thing that I teach in my dream sculpting class, I will intentionally every week get my main bank account to zero. I put all the money in my savings, whatever, different things, because I always want to keep a fresh perspective every week to
Oh,
keep me thriving. Because I never want to be like, oh, I'm good. Like,
yeah.
it gets me to that, okay, what can I do to create this week in a fresh point in time to
Oh,
continue thriving?
right.
Because when you get comfortable, success stops.
Yes.
When you're just like, I'm good. You can get in that complacency, or like coasting, and I
Yeah.
don't want to live that way.
Yeah. And what I think of, my background is in health. So what I think of, if our bodies, if we do the same workout every day,
Mm-hmm.
it's not thriving. Our
No.
body adapts, and pretty soon it's not getting the benefit that we
Yeah.
originally got from that workout,
Mm-hmm.
because that's just what came to mind for me as a little bit of an analogy.
I love that.
Ooh, I've never heard of anybody talk about it in that way, of like almost a I don't know, I was gonna say ground zero, but some kind of like going back to this starting point every week, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever timeline people would have, but like,
Yeah.
um, in whatever way you works for you, but to bring yourself back into that feeling of aliveness. I mean, I guess that would
It is.
definitely
Yeah.
sort of make a wake-up call every week to say,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, here we go."
That's right. That's right. And the big secret to that is it keeps you fully present time.
Mm,
Because if we get too far back, right, too far in the past, we can spin out. That's where a lot of problems happen,
yeah,
right? Oh, why did this happen? If we get too far in the future, we can spin out because we don't know how to make that happen. But when you stay present time, what can I do today?
yeah,
Right? What can I be grateful for today? Who can I help today? And then for me, it's always, I'm going to focus on helping one client at a time.
yeah, yeah,
Right? It just keeps me very intentional, honest, and in integrity. And trust is a big deal. You said that. I feel the same way. Like, it takes a lot of trust, honestly, to even want to work with anybody. Because you have that, like, is this person gonna show up? I know I can trust myself that I will help them. Like, the thing is, I'm not a typical coach. My people don't drop off because 'cause I'm like, "Hey, what happened? Are you okay?" Like, I'll check in because
Yeah,
I know if someone committed to something, I'm committing to help you get across the finish line.
yeah,
What kind of coach would I be if I let you, like, give up on your dream? When you told me what your dream was and made a plan, it's like, I get surgeries happen, you know, people get sick, things happen, like, I totally get that, and it gives you a chance to look and go, "What's the blessing in this challenge, and how can this work for me?" And that's what I'm always trying to look, how can this work for me, right? That's how I keep my momentum. It's not
yeah,
that I'm at 0, I'm always in abundance, but I like that new point in time. It's like a clean slate every week
yeah, yeah,
where I make my intentions, and I think a lot of that too is my background in education, my lesson plans. I would create every Thursday for the new week coming up because then Friday I had time to get my materials, make copies, and then the next week I was ready to go. I
yeah,
do the same thing in my business. Every Thursday, I kind of look, okay, great. These were my goals. Did I hit it? Friday, I make sure to make those goals happen. Then I'm already started on my new week, Friday.
yeah,
I get to hit Monday running. I'm not behind on Monday. That
yeah,
makes sense?
absolutely. I work with, my clients on that too about, like, pre-paving. So it's
Yeah,
not just like, "How do I make Monday good?" No, making Monday good starts back at, like you say,
there you go.
you on Thursday, what you do Thursday
Yes,
to set yourself up into Friday so that you go into your weekend with a certain mindset, so you're
mm,
excited on Monday
that's
instead of
right.
like,
That's a big deal.
oh no, it's Monday." It's not that at all.
Mhm. See, these are the secrets why educators are awesome coaches. Like, it's all these pieces, but then you get into coaching and consulting, right? And training, and it's like all of that experience and expertise matters.
Yeah,
And there's a huge trust factor because when you were a first grader, kindergarten teacher, elementary, it's like you have a different level of credibility anyway in the
yeah,
trust realm.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's I wanted to bring this up too while we were in this interview session.
Yeah.
The word trust goes back
Mhm.
to how we actually met because so we met on Facebook through a
Mhm.
post that, I was in this group and I saw this post that Trina did. And it was so vulnerable about friendships or finding friends.
Yeah.
Um, and I read it and it moved me so much. It moved
Mm.
me to look up her name, go into the DMs and send her a message. And like, that wasn't me. At that point in time, that was not how I
Mhm.
operated. I was still in this whole, like, new speaking of beginners mindset, like,
Yeah.
I didn't I knew I needed to have an online presence in order to do
Mhm.
online coaching, which is really what it mostly is now,
Yeah.
but I didn't have a trust with
Mm.
social media. And
Yeah.
so all of this to say that getting to know you through Facebook and then this our evolved friendship that we have had, it builds my trust in social
Mm.
media. And
Yeah.
um, I can say that you as a person, how you've interacted all throughout this time, it's probably been a year now.
Yeah.
And the integrity that you have, the genuine caring,
Mhm.
like you just said, you reach out to people like, oh, I haven't connected with you for a while, or oh
Yeah.
my goodness, I thought of you because I heard about this, or uh,
Mhm.
Trina is just all about those genuine connecting moments,
Yeah.
full on trust. Like for me to pick up on that trust through a
Mm.
post that somebody that I've
Yeah.
never met had written, like that just lifted my heart um, about what was possible in social
I
media.
love that. Thank you for sharing that with me. That's one of those share sparkle moments. That's so sweet because it is like, and so not everybody agrees with this, but I have found because I work with a lot of solo entrepreneurs, I guess I would say, because in the beginning you're wearing all the hats.
Yeah.
And some people don't even want to go on to make millions or multi-millions because their life will change. That is a different life. My husband and I have talked many, many times of the different things we can do, and we've had employees before and businesses, and it's like, man, we love our time freedom. Like there is a lot to be said about being grateful for the amazing life you've created.
Yeah.
When you get to that point where you're just like, how can I bless someone else today? How can I help somebody? Like I'm really grateful. And there are more things, and I can always do more, right? But there is such a like push to always do and be more in our culture that sometimes it's like you can pace yourself, and that's why for me, I'm so patient. Like my clients, some it'll be years, and they're like, I've had you on my list to work with for years, and then they jump in or they'll reach out in the DMs. I know people don't think that happens. It happens to me a lot. Like, especially my VIPs, they'll be like, I'm watching you for years, we need to talk.
Yeah.
And then we just hop on a call and they're ready, right? They know what they want. But it is like I'm a mother of two, right? And I have a type 1 diabetic kid. And so I've been very vulnerable and real about my journey. And I've shared the times where I'm exhausted in the night and walk into walls. And like, you know, we were very just on it with our kiddo where we weren't in the hospital again since he was diagnosed
Yeah.
for DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis. He never had super high blood sugar again. Um, but it's a constant, right? And I think that constant, I feel like almost a night, that presence where you're constant vigilance, like
Mhm.
watching and being aware. And I am cautious about honestly who I let in my circle.
Yeah.
So that trust is reciprocated, right? Because some people I don't like to be linked to energy of something that I don't believe in or that gives me a bad feeling. Like I can feel that. I can feel people's energy when they have a good heart to help,
Yeah.
or if I detect like, this isn't quite a vibe I can be connected with, then it's okay. I figure there are plenty of people in the world to help that we could all help our own tribe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And that's part of thriving, knowing who you help and what you do
Yeah.
and what your capacity is. And yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I love that. Yeah. I love that you said that about thriving too, because especially if anyone who's listening to this works in any kind of work where you are coaching one to one or, energy work or allowing people like taking them through any kind of transformation. My husband and I did that type of work only with celebrities for like 10 years behind the scenes. And what I found is if I wasn't very protective with my energy, I would tend to give, give, give. I'm such a giver that I had to go, wow, am I keeping my own self-care in? Am I drinking enough water? Right? Am I
Yeah.
getting up and walking? I started offering walking coaching sessions because I'm like, I need to get my steps in. I don't want to be chained to my computer. That is not my dream life. So I
Yeah.
did something about it, right? I'm like, but we have a choice. And I hope that anyone who's listening to this will recognize, in your life, you get to choose the kind of food you want to eat, who you get to hang out with, how much sleep you want to get. Like you can make those shifts that maybe there's a transition period, if you're in a 9 to 5 and you hate it, you're not living your thrive life, right? You feel like Mondays you just can't stomach another Monday.
Yeah.
You have options. There's so many ways now that you can create and help people globally off your phone. The Legacy and Legends podcast I have, it's an international global podcast. I'm an international speaker. I get paid to speak on stages all over the world. And it's like, because I'm willing to give and link up with relationships that it's reciprocal
Mhm.
energy, right? It's a give and receive. It's
Mhm.
not always just one give. You want to be giving and receiving. And then you just find these amazing people will come into your life
Yeah.
who really do want to help you. These
Yeah.
people on the internet, we could have lunch together. We could be sitting in Montana having lunch,
Yeah.
it feels like it because now we've gotten to spend so much, time together. And I just love that. I love that piece that if you're hanging out with people that it gives you more energy, you
Yeah.
feel like a plant that's growing and blooming and thriving, right? Or do you feel like one that's withering away? Like be aware of that because you get to choose. And I said, look, if you notice that your sales are off or your health is off, or suddenly you start having weird spontaneous problems you didn't have before, look and see who you're connected to because usually someone is almost tapped into you like a vampire,
Yeah.
right? Where they're in like sucking your energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're really thriving, I think you attract other people who are thriving.
You do,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yes. So what's new for you in 2023? How are you planning your thriving?
I'm really excited about this new year. Um, Believe it or not, I usually have a ton of like new launch things or new programs and all this stuff. I am doing a lot of consistency.
Mhm.
Like I've had some huge, massive, massive wins. So my focus in this new year is really doubling down on what works because I'm such a creation queen. Like I'm always the next new thing. But like the big things are women in power. I'm so excited about it. I actually had someone I hired to do the logo and brand for it. And so Women in Power is all about leading queens. And so the idea behind power, what that stands for, is present, overachieving women, ensuring results. And so it's all about these high vibe, heart centered entrepreneurs that are coming together for a greater good. And we have our Women in Power event in the spring. So that one is March 30th, 31st, April 1st, and 2nd. It's an all inclusive retreat. I have a 5K and 12K option. The 12K includes a mentorship. So I'm really going deep on some of the relationships with my VIP clients.
Yeah.
So the ones who come in that want more time. So many people have been through some kind of program where they didn't get to, spend time with their coach, or they went through something and they have gaps. They don't know where they are. But I find when I get that one-to-one time with them, we can really fill in those gaps and help accelerate their plan. And I have so many different things and tools and skills. Like I have more certifications than I can count. I have 2 degrees. I have 5 published books. I have coached thousands of people to success. I teach 14 streams of income. I consistently break 6 figures in multiple streams of business. So, without getting into all the exact numbers, you can imagine, right? Amplifying abundance is all about never being stuck with just one income stream, but just having them all work. And this cool, like fluid motion, ocean kind of vibe where it's just working. And so for me, the retreat's a big thing. Our signature Stories to Success program, we're always enrolling people. That's a continuous program because every day I meet people who want to start their own business, or maybe people who have a successful business, but it wasn't their actual passion, like their real purpose. They feel like this miserable millionaire where they got rich doing something because a coach said, go do this for the money, but it wasn't what their heart wanted to do. So I love working with those kind of clients too. But yeah, from startups to scaling, and really, I have dialed in my messaging. I know exactly who my dream clients are. I bring them in all the time, and I just want to love and serve and grow that community. I've been certifying my own coaches because I am working to, add to our team so that I have other coaches who've been through Stories to Success, who all my clients who finish all the modules enroll high ticket clients, period. It just works. And it's not a new thing. We have been doing this like over 10 years combined together in that business. So it's just really cool because as people get certified in any of those areas from I have a amplifying abundance certification, I have a picture power certification, I have a wellness, like inside out wellness coaching certification, different ones that I've created and done over the last 10 years. This year's really about my legacy, training my own coaches and certifying them, being able to pass on this work that I've created that really has transformed thousands of lives. And I want more people to be able to share and be part of that bigger ripple effect. Um, and that's what the Share Your Sparkle is all about. It's really about lighting up and magnifying more of what's good in the world and sharing that message. So the Legacy and Legends podcast, I had a huge year. My end of year stats showed that I was producing more than 86% of content creators, which is huge. And just getting that reach of the Legacy and Legends podcast out there, um, it's been a lot of fun. I have some new books in the works that are going to get published this year. So there will be book launch parties. And then, like I said, my VIP programs, we have people who fly out here where we video their whole programs, do their certification, have the whole thing up and running automated. Um, and that's the thing. There's so many things working. It's like being grateful. And I'm also a mom with a kid on a mission. So I have this place in my life where I'm really focused on my daughter. She's 13, making sure she's getting all the time that she needs and wants, and really just nurturing, my husband and I's relationship
Yeah.
after 25 years, like finding
Yeah.
ourselves in the space of almost empty nesters, right?
Right?
Like, what's this next chapter? I
New
finished my
thing.
bucket list twice. I'm kind of, what do I want to do next, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Ooh, so legacy, you mentioned that word a couple of times and how that figures in with thriving and
yeah.
Wow, that feels like I can feel how that's another layer, of like, you've really built this
Mhm,
foundation, such a strong foundation, and now
yeah,
this legacy piece, and rippling out.
mhm.
Ooh, ooh, that feels so good. So
Yeah, it's a lot of
exciting.
fun. I just felt like that. You know when you, like, take a stone and you skip it on the water and it's like that perfect bounce out into the horizon? Like, that's what I picture. I want
Mm,
that ripple effect of, the people that are aligned, that are these heart-centered entrepreneurs
yeah.
who want to pay it forward and they wanna connect and link arms in whatever their specialty is to really establish that as an authority.
Mhm.
That's the thing, like, I am an authority. I really don't know someone else who's sold $1 million offer, who's made, more than 1,000,000 with less than 20 clients. Like,
Yeah.
I really specialize in that high profit, but small group
Mhm.
because I like it. I like that I know all of my clients and their families, and I know their birthdays, and their kids know us because they could listen to the podcast in the car, like, I really like that, and it's something that's precious to me, I'm realizing, as I work and have made lots of connections with these gurus that there's nothing wrong, right? Like, they have huge audiences of, like thousands, or they'll have these giant venues, and we've all been to them. I've been to the giant conferences with thousands in arenas, but they don't know my name.
Yeah.
If I didn't show up, they wouldn't miss me. Like, it makes me wanna cry because it's just that's when I say I'm there for the one, it's like I feel very aligned in my spirit with that of the one is each person,
Yeah.
but I wanna make sure that even as we're scaling and adding our team, we always are aware of our clients and their needs and keeping that heartbeat in our community so that, when I have a parent whose child literally we had a parent in our community whose child passed away from cancer. That we could rally and support, and, like, I was on calls for him just as a friend, like, I'm his coach. It
Yeah.
changed his life. Like,
Yeah.
he got out of a horrible job, linked arms with me, took the responsibility for handling his payment to get into our group, and then it was like, he has been flown out on private jets to speak. He teaches customer service, like, he got out of that job that was literally ruining him, and even though they lost their child, they had another child, and he and his wife are doing well, and, like, we're always in touch. My clients text me. It's just a very personal relationship, and I'm not willing to compromise that.
Yeah. Well, that's part of your thriving, and that's part of your superpowers and your heart.
Yeah.
That's your heart. Oh, my friend. Thank you so much for this time. Thank you so much for sharing your, view on thriving, your, how you're doing it in the world, and how, what you're doing, people can learn about, follow, listen, jump in whatever way they desire, and
Yeah.
all of that information about how to find Trina, what she's up to, what she's got going, is below this video. And I just I'm so thankful for you and your generous heart because that's how we connected.
It is, and I appreciate you too, and that's the thing, like, when a lot of people listen to this, sometimes people will feel like someone's out of reach or they can't connect. And I want you guys to know, like, there are so many things that my husband and I created as free resources to help people. We have book lists. We literally have a 50 days of success challenge that was on TV that's like people can go through and just get 50 days of coaching to build momentum. There's a book that goes with it. It's like we did so much of that first. We led with service
Yeah.
because we never wanted somebody to be turned away because they couldn't afford to get the help. I'm not about that, you know?
No.
And so it was like we wanted to lead with that first. So there's whether it's, a free group or resources, like we have things to help people at every level because that always keeps me in that humble place of like, let's meet where we are and
Yep.
we'll build up from there. And then when I do have people who maybe are more financially successful, they come in, well, they ain't link arms and right away just make a bigger impact, right? Because they're always going to have that elevation of what can we do for service? Maybe
Mhm.
it's something free to build community and then offers that people can afford. Because really, to me, thriving is like connected to the bamboo. Have you ever heard that story like with the bamboo where, it starts off and it's so slow initially. There's roots that go down to the ground and it's like, what, after like 7, 8 years. And then all of a sudden it sprouts up and it'll go like, 12, 22 feet tall. And that's what I really feel like it's about establishing that foundation because when you're solid in that, anything else you can grow once you have that solid foundation, right? And I really feel like that's the root of thriving.
Mm, what a beautiful visual to end on, that bamboo. And that's so representative of you and your family and all that you guys do.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for this opportunity. It was so fun. And I hope that your community enjoys this. If you need anything, I'm a real human helping real humans. And yeah, Trina Gunzel. Thank you so much, Aimee.
Thank you. Cheers to thriving.